Ebola, a deadly virus, is now a concern in Oregon. The state health authority today revealing it is monitoring 4 people who may have been exposed during travel to West Africa.
Our Lisa Balick getting the latest from health officials. She joins us live now. Lisa, we hear the word Ebola, and it just sends shivers down your spine.
Yeah, even state health leaders said that today, that it's something that is very, very scary. But keep in mind, there are no cases of Ebola in Oregon right now. In fact, there's never even been a single case in Oregon. But right now, state health leaders are keeping watch over some travelers just in case.
Ebola is scary.
Ebola often kills 50% of people infected. It's why the Oregon Health Authority wants the public to know there is the possibility the virus could be here. Oregon Public Health is monitoring 4 people who returned from Guinea and the Democratic Republic of Congo in West Africa earlier this month, places where there are now Ebola outbreaks and deaths. State health leaders here in Oregon today refused, though, to identify any information about the travelers. I asked Oregon health leaders, what about airline passengers who wonder if they were potentially exposed to the virus?
Minimal risk, no risk, essentially, to people who were traveling on the plane with these folks unless the person became ill, because a person can't infect somebody else when they are asymptomatic, when they haven't become ill.
Ebola is less contagious than other viral diseases like COVID because Ebola is not airborne.
If they have already quarantined asymptomatic people who are at risk of exposure, that the overall risk of transmission in our community is very low.
Dr. Bill Messer says if a case of Ebola does develop in Oregon, healthcare workers are much better prepared to handle it based on experience treating COVID patients.
I imagine that we have learned so much since then about how to deal with these contagious and dangerous diseases that it sort of opened up a new way of thinking about, okay, if this is really an Ebola case, or if we really have an Ebola case, we're going to be so much better at I think, managing this.
Now, keep in mind, these people will be monitored for 21 days. And again, it's not something that's airborne. It has to be direct contact from person to person. Now, again, we asked a lot of questions. We still want answers as to where are these people, what county. For example, I checked and found in Ohio, they have more than 40 people that they are monitoring right now who were in West Africa, and they did release what counties those people live in. We'll keep pressing for those answers. Live in South Portland, Lisa Balick.
We begin this hour with breaking news. Governor DeWine has announced that 44 Ohioans are being monitored for possible exposure to Ebola. They recently returned from areas of Africa with active outbreaks of the deadly disease. So far, these 44 people are considered low risk for having contracted Ebola, but if any of them develop symptoms, they would need to be isolated and quarantined. We're going to continue to follow this developing story right here on Fox 8 and on our website.
Officials are keeping an eye on 23 people who recently traveled to countries with Ebola outbreaks. Health officials have been in contact with these people who recently traveled to West Africa. They're being asked to check in daily for 21 days to make sure they're not experiencing any symptoms. So far, no one has tested positive for the Ebola virus, and the Department of Health says the risk to people in Washington state is low.